everybody, Rachel McLove here from Empire Tax Professionals. I'm the CEO of Empire Tax Professionals and I'm also a licensed enrolled agent. Today, I want to go over the key tax deadlines that you really need to know as a business owner. Tax deadline number 1 is January 31st. You need to issue all 1099s to your independent contractors on or by January 31st. The next key tax deadline is February 28th. You are required to mail 1099s to the IRS by February 28th. You're also required to e-file all the 1099s by March 28th. Now, you could either e-file the 1099s to the IRS or you could mail them to the IRS. Whichever option you choose is fine. We actually e-file them to the IRS for all of our clients because we want to make sure that we have tracking and we keep track of every single 1099 that was submitted to the IRS. So we personally prefer to e-file it by March 28th. But if you want to give it to an independent contractor, that is due on January 31st. The next tax deadline is March 15th. If you are an S-Corp and you own an S-Corp and you opened it anytime, even on December 31st of last year, your deadline is due March 15th. Now, if you don't file your S-Corp returns by March 15th, or if you don't file an extension on or by March 15th, then the penalty is $195 per shareholder per month. So if you are the only shareholder, your fine for the whole entire year could be up to $2,400, depending on how many shareholders you have and depending on how many months you are late. So remember, March 15th, your corporate returns are due March 15th or your extension must be filed on or by that date. The next deadline, which is really important, is April 15th. C-Corp returns are due April 15th and your individual returns are due April 15th. Now, if you don't have all of your documents, it is always best to file an extension. File an extension for your corporate returns or file an extension for your individual returns. Now, if you file an extension for your S-Corp returns, your extension is only given up until September 15th. And if you file an extension for your C-Corp or your individual return, the extension is only up until October 15th. Now, there are many business owners that come to us a year later and they say, oh, I filed an extension, and they think their extension is still valid after October 15th or even after September 15th, and it is not. Extensions are only given for 6 months. And an extension is only for you to file your returns. The IRS or the state never gives you an extension for you to pay. All payments are due March 15th if you're an S-Corp, and all your payments are due April 15th if you're either a C-Corp or if you're an individual. You're required to pay your taxes on that date. Now remember, if you don't have the money to pay, that's okay. It's always best to file your returns on time, because if you don't file your returns on time and if you don't pay, there are 2 types of penalties that you get. There's a failure to file penalty because you didn't file the return, and then there's a failure to pay because you didn't pay your taxes, and there's interest on both. So you always want to make sure that you file the returns because that reduces at least some of the fines and some of the penalties and interest. File on time even if you don't have the money. The next tip that I would recommend is knowing the estimated tax deadlines. Guys, this is really important. If you owe more than $1,000 at the end of the year, you really need to pay your estimated taxes quarterly and on time. So the first deadline, the first quarter estimated tax payment is April 15th. The second estimated tax payment is due June 15th. The third estimated tax payment is due September 15th, and the fourth is January 15th. So make sure that you file your estimated tax payments on time, especially if you're going to owe more than $1,000 at the end of the year. The next important tax deadline that you really need to know as business owners is the payroll deadline. So the payroll deadline is April 30th. That's the first quarter. So January 1st up until the end of March, your returns are due the end of April. So April 30th. Then April, May, and June, your payroll returns are due July 31st. July, August, September, your payroll returns are due October 31st. And then the fourth quarter is October, November, December, and payroll returns are due January 31st. Now, again, when you file your payroll returns, you need to make sure that you file it and you pay it. And even if you don't have the money to pay the payroll returns or the payroll payments, you still want to make sure that you're filing the payroll returns and then make a payment plan or set up a payment plan with the IRS or the state to make sure you're always compliant. Now, if you are a business owner and you're starting off, you would probably need to remember all these deadlines. Or you would just hire a company like us so we would remember all these deadlines for you and consistently remind you of these important tax deadlines so you're always compliant. Our clients, if you're watching this and you're our client, you don't really need to remember all these tax deadlines because we remind you on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis of what your deadlines are. We file extensions on your behalf automatically if your returns are not prepared on time, because it could be that we're waiting for something from you or whatever the reason may be, but we will file an extension for you and we don't need to be reminded. Just remembering these key tax deadlines can save you thousands of dollars in taxes, because if you just miss one deadline from here, such as the S-Corp return, that's $195 per month per shareholder. If you missed a payroll deadline, that New York State charges you $1,000 for each quarter for filing late. So you want to make sure that you have the proper, that you file your payroll returns on time, that you file all of your tax filings on time. And as a business owner, the IRS and the state say that it is your obligation to know these tax deadlines, or hire an accountant that can assist you and that could remind you on a monthly or quarterly basis to help you, so you can focus on growing your business. And then when you hire an accountant, they could help you stay compliant and help you save the most money in taxes, which should be everybody's goal. Let us know if you have any questions. Again, Rachel Micallef here from Empire Tax Professionals. Thank you so much and have a great day.